First, this is very important. Do not swap capacitor with one higher capacitive rating unless you have an amp meter and you're making sure it would not exceed the current what it's rated for. Anyways, hi, here's an Emerson Heat Fan, and I turn on medium speed to not be showing speeds to maximum speed. Since my last video of this fan, what I did was replace the trim pot and solid state speed control, which I determined it was a cause problem. And I upped the 9 UF capacitor to 10 UF capacitor. So now it spins faster. You can see it is more steady now, and not just stalling out or speeding up. Back when I was in the museum, sometimes that one was not running when the other one was running, before they stopped using them together when more air conditioning were installed. And after the renovation, I was told the museum would not have any fans at all. It is important for museums to be climate controlled, which means air conditioning would be needed. Fans don't control climate that much, but air conditioning do. Even though they use a lot of energy. I want to say that when I replaced the trim pot, the old one was 1 million ohm, and the new one is 500k ohm. We don't need the other 500 part, since even to 500k ohm, it would stall. So it means that above 500 is definitely not needed. Also, I want to say the trim pot is actually in parallel with regular pot. The main pot. I'm glad that I was able to get it fixed because the contractors had some trouble taking the switch out and actually had to ship it to me. And if it was not fixable, it might be a waste of their time. So I'm glad I got it fixed. And then I'm going to start turning it up. When I install it again after I know I bounced it, guess what? The wobble came back! Even though the blades were same order. So I shifted the blades compared to flywheel. It still wobbled. So I shifted one last try. And guess what? The wobble calmed down. And also when I measured the screw holes in the flywheel, they weren't exactly equally apart. So it could be one reason why many 3-blade heat fan wobble. So now it even blows even more air than it used to. Obviously because the capacitor swap. And you can see the wobble is very calm. And it's mostly silent. Though it has some noise. Some of the noise, like very close to high speed, has nothing to do with solid state speed control. Because when I tried without the control, it still made that kind of noise. But some noise at medium speed range is from solid state speed control. This slight noise. And yes, you can see the control works perfectly now. The way it confirms the trim pot is that when I use it to light instead of fan, it flickered when I used the trim pot to control it, but didn't flicker when I used the main pot to control it with the trim pot all the way down. And yes, I turned the main pot to where it's a little bit dim and not flicker, and I used the trim pot to turn up and there was some flicker. And that made me confirm it's the trim pot. And that means I got to get a new trim pot. So I'm glad they didn't just do all the work for almost nothing. Though the other switch, the contractors were able to save it more easily. And then I'm going to shut off and she'll spin down. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe.